Aztecs football team does most of its damage in the first half, scoring 18 points. They hold a high-flying San Jose State offense in check. They add a TD late in the fourth, final score 25-3. That adds up to a perfect season at home, 6 wins, no losses, first since 1996, and just like that, Aztecs are one game away from hosting the Mountain West Conference Championship. Steve Perez, Louis Weiner, Aztecs all in. Louis, how about that? A perfect season at home. Did you have that on your bingo card going into this one?
Can't say that I did, Steve, and it happened on senior night, which is a fantastic way for the seniors to go out, and good win all around, right?
Right. It was a great gathering of people who were supporting their children, families down on the sidelines, their sons' jerseys on some. Number 13, I spied, that's Nathan Acevedo's crew, and then saw a bunch of 63s down there, Ross Ulugala Masuli at big center. People of all ages, right?
Yeah, it was
Just
fantastic.
as many on the sidelines, if not players on the field, right?
Yeah, parents and family members lined up on the north end zone. As the seniors were announced, they came out, they shook hands with Sean Lewis, then they ran the length of the field down to the end zone to greet their friends and family. And what was really cool is the seniors stayed down there, and when the Aztecs were introduced, the whole team ran down to the end zone where the seniors already were waiting, and they all hugged and congratulated the seniors as well. So I thought that was a really nice touch.
Right, and great to see George Jones out there on the field, being the Aztec Warrior, leading the I Believe chant. Big old George Jones, one of the great ball carriers from years past. Jones, the honor warrior, an Aztec at 95 and 96. He ran for 2,810 yards, 34 TDs. That rushing touchdown total in 95, an Aztecs single-season record until Donnell Pumphrey broke it in 2014. And that's still the fourth most in Aztec single-season history. And he rushed for 23 touchdowns in that 95 campaign, tied with Rashad Penny for the most in San Diego State in a single season. Good to see old George Jones out there leading the charge.
Yeah, it's always fun to see the old Aztecs come back and throw that spear into the ground to the big cheer of the crowd. And, of course, with a undefeated season makes it even better. By the way, Steve, Aztecs' first undefeated season since 96. They also were undefeated in 69, 72, 74, and 77. So it doesn't happen very often. And before tonight's game, they were one of only about 24 teams in the nation that were still undefeated at home. So quite an accomplishment.
Yeah. Putting a fine point on that, undefeated at home, but for those road losses to Washington State and Hawaii, man, do those loom large at this point. I had a pregame mood check going on internally, Louis. There was some trepidation because they were going up against a good coach and a good quarterback. They had a bad record. You had this distraction going on with the senior night, and you just didn't really know how the Aztecs were going to respond.
Yeah, but they came out ready to play and had to deal with a different set of quarterbacks, right? Their top quarterback, Walker Eget, got hurt, so they had to bring in the freshman, and we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. But the defense really played extremely well, Steve, and they held opponents to just 3 points. And by the way, since 2011, the Aztecs are now 80-5 when holding opponents to 17 points or less. So that's almost an automatic W when they do that.
Right, they held San Jose State to the single field goal, right? So all you got to do is come up with a couple more. It's reminiscent of that Northern Illinois performance by the defense. And the defense, boy, did they come out just fiery hot. Knocked Eget out of the game and gave his replacement, a freshman, a hard time, and knocked him out of the game a couple times and got down to the third quarterback. And when he got out there, I think he had a couple plays where he came in third and long, and on both those he got sacked. So all in all, just a sterling performance by the defense.
Absolutely.
Yet again.
Yeah, they held San Jose State to just 268 yards of total offense and only 135 passing. And this is a team, again, with Eget. He went through a 7-game stretch during the season where he was averaging 350 yards a game. So except for last week when Nevada crushed them 55-10, this San Jose State offense has been on a roll, and not tonight. The Aztecs just shut them down.
Right, and one of his favorite targets, Danny Scudero, targeted 132 times on the season going into this game. Aztecs more or less held him in check. He got his catches. The leading pass receiver by far for the Spartans, or the Conexentos, however you want to call them, but that San Jose, 12 catches, 79 yards, kept him out of the end zone. He got his yards on one play, 17, targeted 14 times, made his catches, but again, held that receiving core in check. No other receiver for the Spartans, the Conexentos, San Jose, caught more than 3 balls. So holding a guy like that in check, according to Coach Sean Lewis, was a major accomplishment.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's one of the key targets, right? I mean, the number of times that he was targeted relative to the other wide receivers, and the way that they were utilizing him tonight, the way that they've done all season long. There's great creativity using him out of the backfield. It creates some matchup issues. And so, it was a great job by the defense, great plan by Rob, and great job by the guys owning the plan and being able to contain him. He's a player that you're not going to stop, right? You just got to do a good job of containing him, know where he's at. And our guys, for the most part, did a really good job of that to keep a lid on a very explosive offense, to hold them, to an outing where they don't score a touchdown is pretty impressive.
Yeah, on the ground as well. Their leading rusher for San Jose State was a guy who the Aztecs didn't even think they were going to see. Tama Amasoni, who's the backup quarterback, came in for Walter Egat pretty early in the game. He finished with 13 carries for 75 yards. The running back, Steve Chavez Soto, 14 carries, 51. So primarily it was the quarterback who got the yards, and he threw the ball away a few times, Steve, when I think
many times.
Perhaps he could have even gotten more yards on the ground. Chris Johnson had a fantastic game. He had a interception in the second half where he actually yanked it out of the receiver's hands and somehow came up with it. He'll talk about that after the game. Him and Jaden Denegal spoke to the media, and Chris Johnson also talked about being undefeated at home and what it was like playing during senior night. Talk about the interception. It looked like he had it and then you had it. So talk about how that play evolved.
Yeah, actually a little upset with myself for that play. I feel like I'm like a perfectionist. And he honestly had me be on the play. Quarterback underthrew it a little bit, and we both went up, and I just ended up winning on the ball. But, I'd like to win that route from the get-go and not make it so close. Yeah, tonight meant a lot, man. We come a long way. I've been here all 4 years, and, all pretty much all of those except now have been a pretty big letdown. Like before I came, that was like that 12-win season. And I'm finally happy that being able to get back towards that. And, this being my last year, just hope to, get the youngest going to keep this thing going.
Yeah, it's amazing. We got 3 very good backs, and we have, I feel like, the best O-line in this conference. So being behind those guys and they're protecting me, it's just a blessing every day. And we just got to continue to keep on getting better day in and day out and week in, week out, and keep on pushing.
I feel like it showed it off perfectly, actually. I feel like most of their drives, they were converting on third down. Getting first downs, driving down the field. But like you said, bend don't break, so we could give up, 99 yards as long as they don't end up in the end zone.
You guys playing for Egat, and you end up getting the younger kid who could run around. How did that affect the defense and how you played it with different quarterbacks?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually just talking on the radio about this, right, to where it's like players make plays, and obviously the quarterback and the trigger man, when they have different skill sets, when they have different styles, you got to have a really focused approach to how you're going to do that, right? So, seeing all 3 of those quarterbacks with each a uniquely different approach, there has to be relentless focus and elite technique and fundamentals to execute the call that's being made, and then trusting your brothers that are out there that they're going to do their piece so that you can leverage the ball, you can be gap sound, you can have coverage, stability. And I thought we did a good job of that. Obviously, we bled some yards tonight, but to keep a net over the explosive plays and to play kind of a bend but don't break approach, I think was really smart by Coach Rob and the approach that they took, and the way that we went about the game. And so again, it happened to be multiple quarterbacks that we saw, but again, being able to execute the call, owning that within the white lines by our players was really impressive.
Also on senior night, don't forget the pep squad, the bands out there, the cheer, the dance squads, the flag twirlers. You know, I hate to keep going back to these omens, but I get into the car tonight and I'm thinking, man, I got to have some sort of a cap for him, and I don't have any in the car except for one, Lewis. It's this one. It says KISS.
Yes.
That's once one of the hottest bands in the land. But you know, Lewis, KISS also stands for Keep It Simple, Stupid. It means stick to the fundamentals, execute. The Aztecs did that. They executed the running game. They played elite level defense. They controlled the line of scrimmage thanks to those seniors, right?
Yeah, and it's fitting you're wearing a KISS hat on throwback night, Steve, because they were selling inexpensive hot dogs, $10 beer. I don't know if that's cheap or not. And it was a throwback field. And I thought they did a pretty weak job on that. They said it's throwback. All it was a white SDSU in the middle and those slashes in the end zone like you see in the old NFL film games back in the 1960s. So I think they could have done a little more to decorate the field for senior night. But throwback day, and the Aztecs, of course, with their defense, they're a throwback kind of team. So fitting, I believe.
Throwback, keep it simple. Really doesn't get much more simple than that old school SDSU logo. And how about that throwback pricing on all those things, right? You even got a throwback price. And thank you for that, bringing in the cup of coffee at halftime. Huh?
That was not a throwback. That was $7 a cup of coffee. They did not throw back the coffee.
And, you know, let's talk briefly about the attendance tonight. The actual distributed tickets was somewhere in the neighborhood of 22,000, right? And that supposedly included some giveaways to the United States Marine Corps from Camp Pendleton in recognition of the contributions by the armed forces, but it still felt a little light out there.
Yeah, it certainly did. And the students late to arrive, I think by the time they're halfway through the first quarter, it was probably about 75% filled with the students. And from the press box, it's really hard to get a sense of how crowded the stadium is, but I'm guessing it was in the 15,000 range, which has pretty much been the last few times the Aztecs have played. So disappointing in that sense, but what can you do? Hopefully they'll come out, especially if the Aztecs host a Mountain West Conference championship game.
Well, to do that, they have to win after a short week and take on the New Mexico Lobos in Albuquerque. But back to this game, just to savor some of the numbers from it, we talked about the basics, and for the Aztecs, that was controlling the line of scrimmage, running the dang football. Lucky Sutton, 20 carries for 79 yards. Christian Washington got 71 on 10 carries. Jaden Denegal, pedestrian night again. He was 8 of 16 for a total of 81 yards. He had that one long pass. But back to the fundamentals and the basics. Scoreboard, 25-3. The Aztecs undefeated at home, a game away from hosting the Mountain West Conference Championship.
I think last week he completed 6 passes. So earlier in the season, he became pretty efficient. Not as much these last few weeks. And, of course, losing Jordan Napier, he loses one of the great wide receivers that the Aztecs have had in a long time. So that, I believe, affected the play calling from Coach Lewis. He wasn't particularly interested, I think, in throwing the ball that much, and that shows by the final numbers.
Well, remember, too, that there was a question in the interview room afterwards about Denegal, and because it came out of the game at one point in the second half and looked to be bothered by that right arm a little bit, and also that left arm, which he's had that brace on since after the game at Stony Brook. And he said he was good in the interview room afterward, but you gotta think that based on the load they're putting on him and just kind of the look I saw on his face on the sidelines a couple times, that he is not 100%, but he is a tough guy and holding out.
He is. He was wearing that brace on his left shoulder after the game in the media room, I did notice as well. So it's a 25-3 win for the Aztecs. How did it happen? Well, here is our famous stats and recap.
Here's the coin toss. The team visiting wins. They call tails, elect to receive. Eget testing the Aztecs defense straight away. Placencia will kick off. It's not warm, weather in the low 60s, but at least it's not raining. The stands are not filled. Feels like a shade more than against Boise State. Lewis, Gabe's kick is in the end zone, touchback. 1st and 10 for the 25. Eget runs motion, spread formation to the near side, and throws complete to Danny Scudero, gains 9. 2nd and 1, Eget keeps for 2. 3rd down, no huddle. There's a pass straight to Dwayne McDougal at the 45. An interception. McDougal returns 25 yards to the 20-yard line. Aztecs in business early. 1st and 10, Aztecs will give to Lucky Sutton for a 3-yard gain between the tackles, and bet we see a lot of that tonight. Denegal fakes the jet sweep, carries for 6. They give to Sutton, 1st and goal at the 9. Between the tackles, the pile moves to the 3. 2nd and goal, another give to Sutton. And this one moves the pile for 1. 3rd and goal, a short one. Denegal out of the gun. Another give to Sutton, and he's in standing up. 11-14 left in the first quarter, and the Aztecs have a touchdown. By God. Here comes a 2-point conversion. They spread out. Brady Anderson gets the direct snap and runs it right on in. Aztecs realizing maybe they need all the points they can get tonight, and they lead this one 8-0. Second possession for San Jose, and they open with a run to Steve Chavez Soto for 9. He will get a first down to the 44, and then another give for 6. And that success leads to a complete pass to Leland Smith. 1st and 10 at the 41. Eget is pressured, has to throw it away. Next play under pressure again. It's complete to Scudero to bring up 3rd and short from the Aztecs 32. They will give to Chavez Soto. He gets just enough. Eget moving the team on this drive. His next pass tipped by Owen Chambliss. Incomplete. 2nd and 10, they will gain nothing. And 3rd and 10, Aztecs have Eget where they'd like to have him all night long. 3rd and long, crowd giving it to him. Eget back to pass, under pressure, but he throws complete to Scudero. It's not enough for the first down, and they will try a field goal from Dennis Lynch. And he will get off probably one of the worst attempts I've ever seen in all these years of watching Aztecs football. It's a low ground ball to short. No one touched it off the line of scrimmage, and you can hear the cries of the wounded duck as it falls to the surface at Snapdragon Stadium. Possession number 2 for the Aztecs on the 25. They will open with the pass low. No chance of a completion. They will give to Sutton. He's through for 11 and a first down at the 36. Denegal goes to the far boundary, complete to Nathan Acevedo. A tough catch in close coverage for a long 6. They will then give to Washington to carry for a first down after that. Denegal now on the next play has Acevedo wide open deep down the middle, and he cannot come down with it. Groans from the crowd. Shake it off, son. Next play. The replay, though, shows he let that ball get to his chest through his hands and appeared so shocked by the miss, it appears he didn't even think about trying to recover it off his chest. Sutton will follow with a 2-yard gain. 3rd and 8, the toss to Sutton out of the backfield is complete, but it's for a loss. 4th down, Hunter Green to punt to the San Jose State 18-yard line. Eget again. First down, give to Chavez Soto. Nowhere to go. No gain. 2nd down, pressure by Trey White. He throws incomplete. And there's an injury on the play. And, whoa, it's Eget who is the one who is down. Number 8, Tama Amasone, a freshman now in the game. His first play is a 3rd and long, running that spread offense with Eget on the bench. Not looking good. And Amasone is greeted with a sack by Ryan Henderson. The ensuing punt is received at midfield by Mikey Welsh. Aztecs with the 3rd possession, 1:49 left in the first quarter. Aztecs open with the give to Sutton. No, it's a fake. Denegal still has it. He shovels it to number 82, Jalen Hawkins, for a gain of 11. And there's a late hit on the ball carrier, so add a personal foul, 15 yards for that. At the 22-yard line, Sutton then has 2 carries for a couple yards. 3rd down and 5. Denegal rifles one to Donovan Brown high and outside. On comes Placencia for a 35-yard field goal. It's a low one too, but high enough to get through the uprights. 8 ticks left in the first quarter. Aztecs up 11-0. On the kickoff, Placencia, another low drive, fielded and brought down at the 25 is the San Jose State return carrier. 1st and 10, Amasoni completes to Leland Smith near the Aztec sideline, good for 10 yards and a first down as the quarter comes to a close. Second quarter opens with a short carry, bringing up 3rd and 3. Amasoni, he can run the offense. It's complete to the near sideline for a first down gain of 10. Good throw on the run by the freshman to the 41. First down, a short carry, and then Amasoni shows great running ability. After evading the initial Aztec rush, he will gain 19 yards to the Aztec 38. 1st and 10 and a 3-yard gain. Second down play, he tosses it out of bounds under pressure. 3rd and 7 and throws complete right over the middle to Scudero for a first down to the Aztecs 18. He falls with a give to Chavez Soto, a yard maybe. 2nd and 9, Amasoni fakes right, then rolls left. Defense closing in, no one open. Smartly tosses it away, incomplete. 3rd and 9 at the Aztecs 17. Lewis says, big play here. Coach Ken agrees and calls a timeout. 10:50 left in the quarter. Amasoni under pressure on the play after the timeout, and he is brought down for a loss by Niles King. Bring on Trent Carrizosa for the 37-yarder this time, and this one looks so much better. And the Conexentos, or Spartans if you will, are on the board, 11-3 Aztecs. Byron Cardwell and Brown deep for the Aztecs on the kickoff. Brown's got it. Throws a few fakes, gets to the Aztec 24. First down toss for 9 to Mikey Welsh by Denegal, followed by a 5-yard carry by Sutton to the 33. First down. That's followed by a 4-yard pass to the opposite side to Welsh. On 2nd and 6, a fake jet sweep. Denegal keeps for no gain. 3rd and 6. The 3rd down pass is behind the receiver Brown. Aztecs have to punt. San Jose State drive will start on their 22, 7:32 left. And they will open with a quick completion to Scudero for 6. A give up the middle to Chavez Soto to the 33, first down. Amasoni fakes the give on first down and picks up 7 on his own. He is quicker than Egan and seems to be settled again against the tough Aztecs defense. He'll follow with a deep pass downfield. The refs will call pass interference on the play. McDougal is down and shaken up on the play. The replay shows the receiver fell in front of him and McDougal falls over him, and that's what caused him to get shaken up. So how the heck is that interference? The receiver just fell. Anyway, ball's now just past midfield. Amasoni off to the races to the Aztecs sideline. He gains 17 to the 28. There's a short gain on first down. 2nd and 9. Scudero in a motion play grabs the ball, advances to the 18-yard line. Aztecs having an issue with this young, quick, mobile QB at this point. His first down pass is incomplete under pressure. 2nd and 10, more pressure. Another incomplete. 3rd and 10, a flag before the play. It looked like Amasoni was going to pull a draw. It's now 3rd and 15 on the 20. Amasoni passes short to Chavez Soto, short of the first down. That will bring on a 39-yard attempt by Matthias Brown. It just misses the uprights, and the Aztecs still hold the 8-point lead. 3:17 left to play. Aztecs will start on their own 21. Denegal out of the gun will give to Sutton. The gain is 5 to the 26. Washington gets the next carry for 4. 3rd and 1, a quick huddle and a give to Sutton for the first down to the Aztecs 32, and that brings us to the 2-minute warning. Out of the pause, a completion to Brown for 11 and a first down to the 43. Sutton will then gain 1 to the Aztec 44, and Aztecs will call time. 1:42 left. Out of that, Denegal will throw deep to Brown, and it's complete. 52 yards to the 4-yard line. A ball that hung up there that Brown came back for. The DB saying, how did that happen? Denegal falls with a quick out to Jalen Hawkins for no gain. A second down carry by Sutton gains 2 to the 2-yard line, and now Coach Lou wants a timeout. There's 20 seconds left in the half. Aztecs will fake the jet sweep. Denegal carries for what looks like an apparent touchdown, but the line judge says not so fast. The replay shows his knee was down just short of the goal line. Aztecs will line up for another play. 3 seconds left, showing the full house backfield. Denegal will keep it on the sneak and is in. No doubt there that time. On the extra point, the Aztecs showing the fake, but now switched to the traditional field goal formation. Placentia makes it good, 18-3 at the half. Who had that score on their bingo card? First, though, Placentia has to kick the ball out of bounds for the kickoff, and the Conex Centos will get one more play. On the one down they have, Amsonis is pressured. He throws incomplete. The Aztecs are basically a dropped pass away from being up by 3 scores at the half, but they will take this 15-point lead into the locker room at the half. Lewis, the stats are not terribly impressive at the half. Both teams run a similar amount of plays. San Jose with 159 total yards. Aztecs have 154. Aztecs held the ball about 3 minutes less than the visitors. They did more with it, though. The big play is the interception thrown by Egan and the deep completion to Brown, leading to 2 Aztec touchdowns. Over to you for the second half now, Lewis.
Steve, as the second half starts, for Coach Lewis, it's all about the middle 8, right? That's the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half. Well, the Aztecs scored a touchdown during the last 4 minutes of the first half. Can they score some points getting the ball first in the second half? Let's take a look. Drive starts off well. Sutton for 4. Then a big hole to the left for 12. A 6-yard Sutton run makes it 3rd and 4 from the 43. Aztecs go play action. And Denegal throws left but way high to Jalen Hawkins. And first possession of the second half does not end with any points. And the Aztecs have to punt. Spartans take over on their own 15 after the punt, and it's the Tama Amasoni and Danny Scudero show. Amasoni for 6, then a 6-yard throw to Scudero, then back-to-back quarterback keepers for 5 and 13. Aztecs then force 2 incompletions. Then Amasoni keeps it for 7, setting up a 4th and 3. Amasoni keeps it again for a first down from the Aztecs 43, but the defense stiffens. A 6-yard pass on 37 makes it 4th and 1, and Amasoni keeps it but comes up short. Aztecs take over on downs at their own 34. Nice start, 6-yard run for Christian Washington, but an awful play next from Jaden Denegal. He goes left with an option to run or pass, and he throws a backyard pass to Hawkins that falls short. It's a backward pass, so Hawkins have to cover it up, or else it would be a turnover, loss of 2. So the Aztecs face a 3rd and 6 from their 38, and a delayed handoff to Christian Washington picks up 5, 1 short of the first down, and they don't go for it. Aztecs punt, and it goes all the way to the 10-yard line. It's a great punt. So the Spartans set up 1st and 10 from their own 10. And after a 2-yard Steve Chavez Soto run, a great Aztecs rush pushes Amasoni back into the end zone, but he is able to get out of the pocket and throws the ball away. So no intentional grounding call there. He then hits Kyrie Scholes for 14, but is hit hard and has to leave the game. That brings in the 3rd quarterback of the game for San Jose State, Robert McDaniel. And after a 6-yard Chavez Soto run, McDaniel back to pass, but he can't get away from Chris Johnson. It's a sack and a loss of 10. After a pass for negative yards, San Jose State is forced to punt. Aztecs start this drive on their own 35. Big hole for Sutton for 5. Then Denegal keeps it for 4 and Sutton for 2 for the first down. Sutton for 2 and then an end around for 5 to Jalen Hawkins gets the Aztecs to their own 48 as the 3rd quarter comes to an end. No scoring in the 3rd quarter. Aztecs still lead 18-3. 4th quarter starts for the Aztecs. 3rd and 3 from the 47. Christian Washington, 4-yard run gives the Aztecs a first down at the 47. But the Aztecs are just struggling to move the ball consistently. An inside pass to Hawkins gets just 3. Then Denegal throws it away. 3rd and 7, a completion to Donovan Brown, but ineligible man downfield makes it 3rd and 12. Denegal back to pass, and he is sacked by Gafa Faga, loss of 12. So in 4th and 25, Aztecs punt. 9 plays, and at least they get to run 5 minutes and 11 seconds off the clock. Amasoni back in at quarterback as the Spartans take over from their own 21. And after a pass for no gain, Amasoni back to pass deep to Kyrie Scholes, and it looks like he has it, but Chris Johnson somehow gains possession away and gets the interception. Aztecs take over at their own 32. First down, Denegal goes deep to Donovan Brown, incomplete, but the Spartans are called for pass interference. Ball goes to the Aztecs 47, but after a 5-yard Byron Cardwell Jr. run, Denegal throws incomplete, nobody open, and a 4-yard Cardwell run is a yard short of the first down, and again, nothing going for the Aztecs offense, and another punt with 10:24 left in the game. Spartans start at their own 10, and they move the ball. Chavez Soto for 6 yards, then a pass to Leland Smith for 10. First down, Amasoni gets 5. Then what looks like an interception to McDougal from a wide receiver pass, but the defensive holding gives the Spartans a first down. Spartans keep it going. Chavez Soto for 3, then Valami Teo in at running back. He gets 9, 9, and 5 in 3 straight rushes. Spartans down to the Aztecs 33, but a Brady Nasser sack and a chop block penalty next play makes it 3rd and 21 for Spartans. After a 3rd down incompletion, Ryan Henderson sacks Robert McDaniel, and the Aztecs take over just now trying to run out the clock. So they get the ball back, and it's the Christian Washington show. Aztecs start 1st and 10 at their own 45. First rush, -1. San Jose State calls a timeout with 3:48 left. But then he goes on a roll, Christian Washington for 14. Then another 18-yard run. And then a 6-yard run down to the 8-yard line. And on 2nd and 4, the Aztecs finally score for the first time since the first half, a 6-yard touchdown run that makes it 25-3, San Diego State. The drive, 5 plays, 45 yards, in a minute 51. Boise State gets the ball back. 2-minute timeout comes. The Aztecs get Boise to turn the ball over on downs. And that is the ball game, folks. Aztecs win it 25-3. And they look forward to a big game next week against New Mexico.
All right, Lewis, so the Aztecs alone atop the Mountain West, 1 game left to play. They have 1 conference loss. They are pursued by a couple of teams. Beginning of the weekend, there were like 5 teams that had just 2 losses. And now it has begun to dwindle down because of some of the results. The first one came in on Friday night, right? That was the Hawaii UNLV game. UNLV playing at home looked very tough and defeated Hawaii rather handily, I must say. So Hawaii is eliminated, but there are still some teams that are still alive in all of this because of the results over the weekend, right?
Correct. New Mexico defeated Air Force 20-3, so they're with 2 losses. The Aztecs play them next week. Boise State 49-21 over Colorado State, so they have 2 losses, and of course the Aztecs beat them. And a surprise, Fresno State at home, Steve, loses to Utah State 28-17. So Fresno State with 3 losses, they're out of it. So it's basically down to the Aztecs, New Mexico, Boise, and UNLV.
So this is great, though. Great problem to have, and we talked to Coach Sean Lewis because after a game like this, a lot of emotions flowing. Aztecs hold serve at home, protect their home turf, go undefeated. A historic season for them to do that. It's not something that's been done in a long time, and the reward for that is even more. Asked Coach Sean about all of that, the mood check on the team, and how he thought they were dealing with all the success, because a lot of them had their game faces on even after this win.
Yeah, there'll be a moment, right? There's always a moment. We kind of have that 24-hour rule, right, where you treat it the right way, but there's probably a sense of urgency to refocus and go do the next thing the right way to our standard because of the short week that's coming and the opponent that's coming, right? But, I mean, the club's confident right now. We got a bunch of high-character guys there. And, again, the culture that we've created is built on the connection, the improvement piece of things, the competition piece of things, right? And the love of the work, right? Like, all the work that we've done is great. And the reward for all the work that we've done is more work. And like that, but that's life, right? Like, you do a really good job in the entry-level job, like, congratulations, you get the promotion, you get more work. Then you do a really good job in that job, like, congratulations, now you manage more. Like, and so I hope, if nothing else, these guys learn to appreciate that the work is the reward, right? Like, we got to continue to do this work at a really high level, and no matter what we're feeling or what we're thinking, right, there's work that needs to be done to our standard and get it done in that space, right? And again, there'll be a time and there'll be a place and there'll be a space that we'll be able to, relax for a moment, right, and really reflect upon what we've done. But, this is a special crew. When, again, you look at all the work that's happened from a year ago, to this point, and the way that guys have, reaffirmed their commitment to what we were doing, the way that they stayed in the building, how that led to us being able to acquire the talent that we needed in certain holes and certain gaps that we felt that we filled, the development of players that were already in the building to step into the roles that we needed them to fill, the way the staff has continued to grow and connect together. It's led to some really beautiful complementary football that led to a great evening tonight to be at 9-2, and all that's well and good, and I can keep waning poetically about it, but it doesn't matter. We got to get better, and there's another opportunity and another opponent that's waiting for us in, a short order here.
Steve, Aztecs at New Mexico Friday, Black Friday. It's a 12:30 kickoff on CBS Sports Network, and they'll be watching the scoreboard because they will also be wanting to see how Boise State does on Friday. They will play at Utah State, and the other games the Aztecs will be interested in will be on Saturday. UNLV at Nevada. So the Aztecs will be keeping an eye on that one. And Nevada, not very good, Steve, but as you pointed out as we were walking to the car after the game, that is a matchup, Nevada teams, and always a grudge match. And you never know what's quite going to happen those kind of games, huh?
I look for them to be highly motivated coming out against the cross-state rival. UNLV is a very good team. Also, we will be seeing a national TV audience taking in that Boise State-Utah State game in the afternoon. Around about the same time, the Aztecs are going to be taking on the Lobos, the 12:30 Pacific time kick for the Albuquerque game, and Boise State a half hour later are going to be kicking it off on the national network CBS. If it were up to me, I'd kind of flip that. We were talking about how that worked out because the Aztec game means a lot more in the overall scheme of things. But then again, we were talking about the potential audience. They picked this all out at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and muddling through the tiebreaker scenario, I guess we'll get something from the Mountain West Conference this week. But as far as the Aztecs, they need to beat New Mexico because if New Mexico wins, they both have 2 losses, and New Mexico jumps San Diego State. So if that happens, then, all hell will break loose. If Boise wins and UNLV wins, then you've got 4 teams with 2 losses, and I'm not exactly sure the pecking order there.
The Aztecs have to stay focused on the job at hand, going to Albuquerque, and figuring out a way to defeat what looks like a very tough New Mexico team, especially at home. And remember how the Aztecs have played at home. New Mexico has played just as well on their home turf.
Tough game.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and the Aztecs will need another fine performance on defense like they got tonight from their defense with Delshawn Staley was leading the way. He had 7 solo tackles and 1 assist, so he was the leading tackler. Eric Butler had 7 total tackles. Owen Shamlis with 6. And the Aztecs, Ryan Henderson had 3 tackles for a loss. Also Niles King, so a great job up front by the Aztecs. And that's the kind of performance they're going to need to continue if they are going to come out ahead in Albuquerque.
Yep, 4 sacks tonight for the Aztecs, and Ryan Henderson had 2 of them. So more of that next week, please.
And we will be back as soon as we hear from the coaches and the players early this coming week on a short holiday week, Lewis. But until then, we might have this in the can somewhere, right?
Yeah, let's wrap this one up. I'd like to wish all our listeners a very happy Thanksgiving. Hope you have a fantastic holiday, and we'll be back with you midweek. And that will do it for this post-game edition of Aztecs All In. Thanks so much for listening in. Please follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. You can also follow us on the X, Aztecs_all_in. And if you want to drop us a line, please do. AztecsAllIn@gmail.com. So for Steve Perez, I'm Louis Weiner. Until next time, so long.